Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Angali. So today we're talking about finance. As you can see from the title of the video, I feel like this is an important topic, especially for those of us Africans who have migrated from our various countries to the Western world. Anywhere you look on the internet, you see lots of stories about couples fighting over their finance and that leading to all manner of problems, including breaking the marriage. I think this has a lot to do with the fact that back in Africa, the men are mostly the sole providers for their families. Even when the wives work, a lot of times the men are the sole providers. But then this dynamic changes when we find ourselves in the Western countries. So for example, here in the UK, you find out that most times both the man and the woman have to go out to work in order for the family to make ends meet. And then if it's not managed properly, then you find that you might find yourself in a situation where you're bickering about, okay, who pays for what and who doesn't pay for what, and that can lead to all manner of problems. So in this video, I thought to share what works for us. Now, this is not to say that it's a perfect example of how the finances should be managed. No, it's not to say that. And it's not also to say that it would work for everyone. However, I just thought because this has worked for us for a number of years, I thought to share it here on my channel. And perhaps one or two persons might be interested in applying it to their own way of managing finance or even tweaking it to add to whatever way they manage their own finance. So that is the sole purpose of sharing this video. We keep the managing of our family finance very simple, and basically we spend most of my husband's income on our household needs and then save/invest most of my income, and I'll go into a bit more detail. But before I go into the details, I just want to mention that it has not always been this way. Because when we just got married in Nigeria. I have a video on how we got married, and then I was denied visa and all of that. And I eventually came and joined my husband. But in any case, when we got married in Nigeria and I came over to the UK to join my husband, I couldn't get a job. So I wasn't working for about the first 2 years of our marriage, which meant I didn't really have any income. So we lived solely on my husband's income. And I couldn't get a job because when I came in to join him, he was on a post-study work visa, and the post-study work visa was due to expire in a couple of months. So all the jobs I applied for, they said if I should come back when I have renewed my visa. To cut a long story short, we eventually had to move back to Nigeria and waited about 5 months and then reapplied before we came back to the UK. And it was only when we came back to the UK that I was finally able to get a job. So after I got my first job, I thought because we were already used to living on my husband's income, I said to my husband that I wanted us to open a joint account so that I can save my income in that joint account. I thought because we spent all or nearly all of his income on our needs, I thought I didn't want a situation where I would then save all of my money in a different account that is just in my name, or where we would start thinking about who would pay for this and who would pay for it. I didn't want that. I wanted us to keep it as simple as we had it before and just treat it as, yes, there is this additional income to the family. However, we don't have to spend it. So I thought we should save that, but then don't save it for myself alone. It's for both of us. Save it in a joint account so that it will be for both of us. And then the other reason behind this, my thinking, was that there were a couple of things we wanted to do or we needed money to do. And one of which was we needed money to pay for my master's degree. And I thought, yes, I would save most of my income, if not all of my income, for towards the master's degree. However, I didn't want to save it in an account that was just my name because I felt that would be too selfish. Even though we were living on my husband's income and we got used to living on it, it's not as if it was all rosy, and it was quite a tight squeeze to keep living on the single income. He was a fresh graduate then and had only worked for roughly nearly 2 years. So the money wasn't a lot, but then we had gotten used to living on this income. And I thought just because we got an additional income from my side, it didn't mean that we should just suddenly upgrade our living and then blow all the money. No, it was better for us that we saved it. So even though it was a tight squeeze, we were determined to make that work, and so that we would have money for this master's degree, which we both knew or we both agreed that I needed to do in order for me to get better paying jobs. It was just the two of us. We didn't have a child then, so it was easy to make this sacrifice and live on this one income. So it was doable for us. Thankfully, over the years, both of our incomes has continued to grow to accommodate a lot more of the things we want to do. Even though we can probably live larger and spend more lavishly if individually we decided to spend our individual income and then do whatever we wanted with it, we probably would be able to live more lavishly and then live larger and spend more. But we have deliberately decided to maintain this model of spend one income and save one income, because we have seen that over the years it has helped us to save and achieve a lot more as a family. We've only made slight changes here and there to accommodate our current circumstance. We've got a child now, and so we've only made slight changes here and there to accommodate the stage we're in life. So for example, my income pays for my means of transportation to work, and at the moment that is paying for the maintenance of my car as well as fueling the car. Then my income also pays for my professional fees. So I've got 2 professional fees which I pay to maintain my profession. I also spend some of my income on personal investment in what you call, for those of us who live in the UK, what you call ISA, individual savings account. So this, I spend some of my income to make this investment solely in my name. And I also spend some of my income for my upkeep, for my monthly upkeep. And my husband, on the other hand, does the same with his income. So some of his income goes towards his own individual savings account, and then, which is an investment. And then some of his income, he spends it also on his personal upkeep or personal needs. And then finally, my income pays for our daughter's extracurricular activities. I made a video where I was talking about how the children in this part of the world, they are engaged in a lot of extracurricular activities. Anyways, my income pays for her extracurricular activities. So aside the things I have mentioned, whatever is remaining at the end of the month goes towards our joint savings account or goes towards our joint investing. So like I said in the beginning, we keep it that simple, and it has worked for us and it's still working for us. In the large picture, we manage our money jointly as a family. However, if you look at the smaller picture, we are each really individually responsible for managing the money that comes into the family through us. And both myself and my husband, we approach this managing of money quite differently. So for example, my husband keeps a very detailed spreadsheet where he writes down everything he spends monthly, and he is into writing down every single thing he spends. For example, if you bought milk for 5 pence, you write down you bought milk. If you bought sugar for 2 pence, you write down you bought sugar. So he keeps that sort of detailed account of what he spends. I don't do that level of details. I keep quite a good and organized track of my spending. However, what I do is like a bigger budget, and so I budget for each categories of things I need to spend money on. So for example, I talked about the fact that maintenance of my car, the money comes out of my income. So what I would say is, for example, £50 for this month is for maintaining this car. And I know that is the £50 for maintaining the car. I don't go above it. I once tried using my husband's very detailed tracking of every spending, and that nearly drove me insane, so I quickly abandoned that. So in summary, even though we manage our finance as a family, we have found a way to retain some level of independence and personalization in the way we approach the management of the finance. So we don't dictate exactly how much each of us should invest in the personal ISA or exactly how much each of us should spend monthly on their upkeep. We don't dictate any of that. However, we do what I like to call financial MOT, and we do this quite regularly, and that helps to keep us on the same page. We both know how much we each earn, and we regularly discuss, as per the MOT I talked about, we regularly discuss what we are looking to achieve as a family, and that helps to guide each of our spending or managing how we spend the money that comes through us into the family. I don't believe in keeping any money for myself or he keeping any money for himself. Even the individual investing we do in the ISA, the individual savings account, we each know exactly what we're doing with that. So it's when I log onto my account, for example, I can actually see what my husband's investing is like, and vice versa. So we don't hide anything financially, even in saving for yourself and investing for yourself, because the ISA is really individual savings account, so it's not joint, so it's got to be individual. So we do this individually, but then we're not selfish about it. We still know that our responsibilities is towards the common good of the family and the common good of the family unit. So we don't do this selfishly. It's not like when I get paid, I decide, oh, I can put all of my money into my individual savings account and keep that to myself. No, I don't do that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.